Welcome to Stillers 365 here on Trib Live Radio and TribLive.com. All brought to you by our good friends at Eastern H2O in the Fox Chapel Plaza. Head on out if you're headed to the mountains. Get your skis and snowboards waxed up and ready to go. EasternH2O.com. Check out all their sales and specials. We have wrapped up the NFL Scouting Combine. We've been checking out all the draft prospects, which will be coming your way in late April. The Steelers picking at 17. They have an interesting spot to select from, and they more than likely will have their pick of the top defensive backs on the board, with the exception of maybe the top corner, D. Milliner from Alabama, who really was impressive yesterday. But let's focus on defensive backs today, and let's start with safety because that's an area of need for Pittsburgh more so than corner. We think they're going to take a run at Keenan Lewis, and if so, probably are not in the market for a corner in the top couple of rounds. If Ike Taylor and Keenan are their two guys for the next 2, 3, 4 years down the road. That's probably not the case at safety, though. Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark in the last few years of their prime in their career, and probably, to be honest, on the downside of it. There's a product out of Texas. His name is Kenny Vaccaro, who everybody has been paying a lot of attention to. Yesterday, among the safeties, he didn't run exceptionally fast. He timed with a 4.63 in the 40. Little underwhelming, so he's not a total burner or not a 4.4 guy, which maybe is a little, safeties, you're not expecting guys to cover a tremendous amount of DB speed ground, but you want them to be able to go sideline to sideline. Vaccaro's interesting. He had a good vertical leap, 38 inches, 15 reps on the bench, a little bit less than ideal, but you watch him in drills, he's got good feet, and what scouts always looking at, the flipping of the hips and to be able to turn and run. He played a lot of nickel coverage at Texas last year. If you watch the Longhorns play, he came back for his senior season. They were not a good defense, but he had 92 tackles, led the team, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 7 passes defended. This after the previous year when he was first team All Big 12. So while he didn't get the accolades in conference this year that he did as a junior, he still had a really good year among a bad defense. And he's one of those guys that could be used in some man coverage at the line of scrimmage and also give Dick LeBeau another toy to use in blitz packages. So even though he didn't have a great combine, I think he's still somebody you've got to look for. At 17, he more than likely would be there. The other guy that's impressive, and Vaccaro stands 6 feet tall, Matt Elam out of Florida is a little shorter. He's 5'10". That scares some people, but boy, is he a big hitter at the back end of that Gators defense. He was a thumper, and he ran very well. He's a little bit faster than Vaccaro, timed out 4.54 in the 40. Did very well in the field work, too, and he may actually be a late first-round pick. He may be that enticing to scouts. He's a junior coming out. Had a big play season, 76 tackles, 4 interceptions, 2 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. He really tortured LSU. He was a big-time prospect coming out of high school, too. So those are the top 2 safeties if you're thinking first round. Elam might be a little bit of a stretch there, but maybe it's a deal where you could trade down a little bit, still take Matt Elam as your safety, pick up another second or third-round pick, and find some other needs. The last couple of years, safeties have gone. I mean, of course, Polamalu maybe started the trend back in 2003 of the importance of safeties in the league and being able to cover tight ends and also cover slot receivers. And the league is definitely continuing to go that way. Last year, 2 of them, Mark Barron out of Alabama and Harrison Smith from Notre Dame, went to Minnesota. And both were big-time players right away in the league. So it's becoming a position of importance. You know, the corners, they're actually it's looking like as the combine wrapped up, we've got the potential for 2, 3, maybe even 4 corners to go in the first round, too. Milliner was outstanding yesterday, a 4.37 in the 40. Very funny in the media interviews, a chatty guy, a borderline cocky guy. He dropped some balls in the field drills, but this guy can move, and he's going to go high. He may be the 5th pick to Detroit. Xavier Rhodes from Florida, a big-time talent as well. A 4.43 40 with a 40.5-inch vertical jump and an 11-foot broad jump. I mean, it's just a tremendous athlete from Florida State, 6'2". He may be a first-round pick and probably one of those guys that's there for the Steelers if they do need a corner. Xavier Rhodes and Desmond Trufant from Washington, who was the star of the Senior Bowl. Probably a bad showing for Jonathan Banks from Mississippi State. He ran a disappointing 40 time, and that's more important for the corners. Scouts need to see those guys have that elite speed. He ran a 4.61, so you're probably looking at Trufant and Rhodes as the other 2 guys in the top, and several other interesting characters that'll be there late first into the second. So it's a decent crop for DBs, and the Steelers could be in the market for both. We're going to find out here as March 12th coming up in free agency. We'll see what happens with Keenan Lewis. But for the Steelers, they'll be paying attention to this group of DBs.